ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामने गौरतुसे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we welcome everyone for today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So today we are discussing from chapter 2 and verse number 28 we discussed yesterday. Jat avyaktādini bhūtāni vyaktamadhyani bharata avyaktanidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation, O Arjuna? So what need is there for lamentation over the body, which in all the phases of life is going to remain in existence. Avyakta Adini. Adini in the beginning, it was unmanifested. That means the body in the form of its material elements was present. And for the time being, it got assembled to have a form like this human body. Then after annihilation again, it is going to dismantle and merge into its elements. So there should be no cause of any lamentation. Just like uh, over a land, if you make a building, a big building, using so many materials, after 30 years, 50 years, 60 years, the building is dismantled again. So who laments for the loss of the building? Because everyone knows the land is still there, the materials are still there. Again we'll make the building. So even if the argument Krishna is putting that even if somebody who accepts that there is no soul, only material body is there, still there should be no cause of lamentation, and one should just execute one's duty. And if somebody accepts the existence of soul, then also there is no cause of lamentation, because then body becomes immaterial. Of course, body is material, but it does not matter for one to lament over the destruction of the body, material body, which has as such no value uh, in comparison to the spirit soul. If we really analyze very deeply, and if we compare the value of material body in front of the spirit soul, actually there is no value at all. That we have already discussed in the verse number 16. नासतो विद्यते भावो ना भावो विद्यते सता नासतो vidyate bhavo. There is no endurance for asata. Asata means this material body. Anabhava vidyate sata. Sata means the spirit soul. It's not that there is no bhava. Na abhava vidyate sata. It's not that there is no bhava for the spirit soul that you can neglect it. Because people, especially in this age of Kali, uh, most of the population, they are not very intelligent to understand this subject matter, that the spirit soul is more important than the body, material body. That's why they go on neglecting the value of the spirit soul. So Krishna is telling, na sato vidyate bhava, na bhavo vidyate sata. It's not that it is of no value or less importance, less value, that you may neglect it. As and satah means the spirit soul. So Krishna is telling, it's not that this spirit soul has less value or no value, no importance or less importance, that it should be neglected. That means it should not be neglected. It should not be neglected. The more importance and the priority should be given for the uh, for the elevation or for the progress of a spirit soul. That is what Krishna has already explained in verse number 16. So, but in few last two, three verses, Krishna is putting the argument, even if one does not accept the existence of soul, still one should be executing the this duties, prescribed duties, which will help you, and one should not lament over this the changes of material body. Now, next, there is the second last verse of this section, science of soul. Krishna is giving lecture on science of soul. Very nice lecture. The second last verse. This verse is known as Ashcharyavat verse, Ashcharyavat sloka. Ashcharyavat pashyati kaschidенam, Ashcharyavat vadati tathaiva chanya, Ashcharyavat chainamanya shrunoti, Shrutvabhyenam vedana chaiva kashe. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. This is the greatest Ashar. So, first three Asharyas, Krishna is telling first three Asharyas or amazement, a wonder for others. But the last line has also Asharya. In the three lines, Krishna is speaking Asharyavat, Asharyavat, Asharyavat. Asharyavat pashyati kaschidenam. Pashyati. There are some people who see the soul as very amazing. And there are some people who explain it as very amazing. Asharyavat vadati tatha eva chanya. Vadati means they speak of the spirit soul very amazingly. Means they become very amazed. And Asharyavat chayanam anyas shrunoti. And there are others who hear about the soul, descriptions of the soul very wonderfully with so much amazement, uh, astonishment. But in the fourth line, Krishna says that he himself has become amazed. Although the word Ashcharya is not present, but in hidingly the word Ashcharya is present because Krishna is amazed to know that Shutvapyenam Vedana Chaiva Kasyit. Although there are people who talk about this, who work on this, who research on this, who dedicate upon this soul, spirit soul, who sees that very amazing, but still nobody is able to understand this very fact. Huh? Still, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Nobody is able to understand it. What is this? That people is still there even after hearing, seeing, talking, all everything. Even after all these things, people are still working on bodily platform. What is this nonsense? This is Asharya for Krishna also. That's why Krishna is telling Shrutva api. Shrutva api, even after hearing about the soul, that means Shrutva api means even after hearing, after understanding, realizing, or after getting convinced also. Enam Vedana Chaiva Kasyet. One does not know about this. Why one does not know about this means even after knowing or and hearing, one is still acting on the platform of bodily consciousness. There is no effect of this. It's just like if you teach a small child, some some kid or some child or some student, let for example, some you teach some student very nicely something, and the student is also very nicely replying, yes, yes, yeah, yeah, understand, yeah, I understand, I understand, yes, yes. And then when you ask the question, same question again, he is unable to speak even one line. Then the teacher will become very ashar amazed. Arey, what is this? In last 30 minutes, I was just explaining about this problem, and very intensely you heard, and you replied also that you are able to get the point, you are able to get the point, everything. But now you are not even able to begin to solve the problem. What is this? You did not understand anything, but you did not ask also. Rather, you told that, yeah, I am able to understand. What is this? The teacher will become very amazed if students acts like this. So that is what is happening throughout the world, or we can say throughout the creation. So many Vedic literatures, so many lectures, so many religious functions, so many austerities, and meditation, and yajna, dan, charity, tapasya, brahmacharyena, samena, damena cha, tyagena, योगाभ्यासेन प्रवचनेन, so many things. All by all these things, one is still unable to understand the very fact that we do not belong to this material world. I am not this body, and I do not belong to this material world. I am a pure spirit soul, completely aloof, completely detached from all kinds of material identification, which is actually misidentification. I'm completely separate entity at all, completely. No connection at all with any kind of material identification, whether with this material body, gross material body, or with this subtle material body, mind, intelligence, and ego. And if I have no connection with this my material body and mind and intelligence and ego, so what connection will I have with others, other material bodies, mind, intelligence, and ego, and other objects of this material world? No connection at all. So it's completely aloof, completely separate. But still, even after knowing this, understanding this, and and there are many who are practicing it also very uh, vigorously, dedicating their life. There are yogis who practice this process of self realization for thousands and thousands of years. But the great wonder is that even they are unable to understand it. They are unable to, that is the Ashcharya. That is so amazing thing. This is very wonderful thing about the soul. There are people who are foolishly engaged in material activities. So that is okay. That is out of ignorance. Foolishly they are engaged. But that is also a kind of ashcharya or astonishment, because even though a materialistic person who is in ignorance, he is engaging himself in all kinds of material activities just to get some cheap happiness and satisfaction in his life, but still he is unable to get it. So by repeated failures of this material happiness, one should become disgusted, and one should become intelligent, and one should understand. One's intelligence should get open that, oh, I am trying so hard to get happiness from material activities, but still I am unable to get. I have all the facilities, all the resources uh, to enjoy my senses, even up to the point of liberation from this material world. That is the highest kind of sense gratification which a person can get in material terms, to get liberated from material entanglement, to get merged in the existence of the Supreme Brahman. So even up to that point, I am unable to get the happiness or satisfaction of heart. So that proves that I am not this body, I am not this mind intelligence, and I am not going to get satisfied even after merging in the existence of. That means I'm not nothing of this material world, as well as it is also not a fact that I do not exist at all. That means I have some positive, better spiritual existence, and I have my personality, I have my form, I have my activities. That should be indicated, that should be understood, that should be concluded after so much material after performing so many material activities and so-called spiritual activities of getting merged into existence of Brahman. But that is also a great ashcharya that nobody gets this understanding, or nobody comes to this conclusion. So that is one kind of ignorance. But even more of amazement or astonishment is that those who accept the authority of Bhagavad Gita, those who accept the words and injunctions of the Shastras, and those who have bona fide authorities, spiritual master, Acharya One, And they are getting the knowledge that we are not this body, we are spirit soul, we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, Supreme Brahman, we have our eternal existence in the spiritual world. We are not part of this material existence, but still we are engrossed in fulfilling just the demands of material body. And for the sake of protecting this material body or material paraphernalia or whatever material things we have in this world, we are compromising with our spiritual upliftment. That is the greatest ashar or astonishment for the Supreme Lord Krishna. That's why he's telling Shrutvapi. Shrutvapi, even after hearing. Just like take for our example. We are hearing uh, from so many years that we are not this body. We are a spirit soul. And our only duty is that we uplift our consciousness so that we become free from the entanglement of material body. But still, even after hearing all these things, so we are unable to follow even the basic instruction that to get up early in the morning, chant at least 16 rounds, follow four reality principles, and to the best of our capacity, we should give uh, to serve Krishna. These are the bare minimum of basic uh, spiritual activities which one should be performing in order to get release from the material entangle. But still, we find hardly very few percent devotees can follow this. Those devotees who know very well that we are not at all this material body. That's why this is the influence of this age of Kali, especially. It's not very easy thing. Just by hearing once, we it's not that one will be able to become fully convinced, or even if somebody has become fully convinced, it's not so easy thing to be able to act on that platform. That's why this is Ashcharyavat Shloka. Krishna is very much astonished. Okay, so actually till now we just discussed the last line of this verse. Shrutvapi enam vedana cha eva kashyet. Even after hearing, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. One is unable to understand. Because what is the symptom of a person who has understood the things? The symptom of a person is that he will follow. He will follow. He will act on that understanding. Just like suppose if you are walking on the street and you are going ahead, if somebody comes and tells you that don't go beyond 100 meters, because if you go beyond 100 meters, there are terrorists. Terrorists are waiting there and they will kill you. So you heard this, but what is the proof that you understood? The proof will be that you do not walk above 100 meters. That will be the proof. If somebody heard this, that after 100 meters, there are terrorists waiting for the person. Whoever will cross the 100-meter that line, they will catch him and they will kill him. If somebody has heard this and still he is going on that same road without caring for what he has heard, that means what is the meaning? That means either he hasn't heard properly, first thing, or second thing, if he has heard, he doesn't believe on it, second thing, and third thing is if he has heard properly and if he is believing also, but still he is going on, that means he is a person who is willing to kill himself. He wants to kill himself. He wants to commit suicide. These three cases only can happen. No other fourth case. Similarly, if we have heard from Bhagavad Gita, first thing is there are many people who cannot hear Bhagavad Gita or read Bhagavad Gita properly. Hearing the instructions of Bhagavad Gita means hearing from bona fide authorities. Because if somebody is just reading by his own self, uh, that means he is hearing from his contaminated mind and intelligence. He is not hearing actually from Krishna. Krishna's instructions are not penetrating his heart because because of so much contamination, materialism, and impersonalism and voidism. These three uh, isms, these three ghosts, they attack the spirit soul. So because of this, he gets a misinterpreted understanding of Bhagavad Gita. So this is one thing, first case, that one has not properly heard the instruction. And that's why he is moving ahead in his life, even after taking Bhagavad Gita in his hand and telling, I am a follower of Bhagavad Gita. But he has not heard properly because he has not approached this bona fide spiritual master. The second case is somebody who has got this opportunity to hear from pure devotees, bona fide spiritual master authorities in the line of disciplic succession, and they heard it properly. Uh, but still, if he is not following what he has heard, that means he doesn't believe in it. This is the second case. Lack of Shraddha. Vishwas is like Shraddha or faithlessness. That is the case of faithlessness. That is a doubting case. And for doubting souls, Krishna has declared in the Bhagavad Gita, Sanshayatma vinashyate nayam loko asti na sukham na param gatim. Many verses, 2, 3 verses Krishna has explained. Those who doubts in the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, they cannot become happy either in this life or in the next life. And samshayatma, those who are doubting, they vinashyati, they get destroyed. They get destroyed means the spirit soul cannot be destroyed, but they get destroyed means they fall back again into the pool of material existence, and they have to suffer this miserable misery of getting birth and death again and again. So this is what, and they'll end up into this lower kinds of species. The cycle of birth and death continues. This is the second case, lack of faithlessness. And third case remains if somebody has heard properly and he has faith also that what he has heard from the spiritual authorities, bona fide authorities who are coming in the disciplic succession, so they are telling the things right. So, but still, if one does not take the instructions very seriously, that means sa atmaha. Sukdev Goswami in the Bhagavatam says, that means he willingly wants to commit suicide. That is the only thing one can conclude with this. So this is Ashar. This is astonishing. So we should think over this. That if we accept that Bhagavad Gita is a bona fide literature spoken by the Supreme Lord Krishna, and Krishna is a historical personality, a supreme personality of Godhead, and whatever is given in Bhagavad Gita, that is 100% true. If we are if we are fortunate enough to accept this fact, and if we accept that Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee, bona fide authority in the disciplic succession of the Supreme Lord Krishna, so whatever interpretations, whatever explanations he has given in the Bhagavad Gita in his purports that are 100% true, as it is, the meanings or explanations given by Srila Prabhupada are perfect and complete understanding, give the complete and perfect understanding of the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita. If we accept these things, then still if we do not follow, that means we are less fortunate or unfortunate. Unfortunately, we are committing suicide. So one should save oneself from these three kinds of cases and be situated in the fourth and wonderful case that, oh, there is danger after 100 meters. Oh, let me not go there.